The basic purpose of communication is to deliver a message. Basically, we have to take someone from point A to point B in a way that they can understand. There are numerous paths that we can take to do this. We can do this by writing an essay, a letter, radio, television, the internet. All of these sources and ways have their own advantages and disadvantages to doing so. Not everybody is going to respond to each of these mediums in the same way. We're always looking to find a way to get mass appeal. Sequential narrative offers us a way to do so, if done correctly. It's able to do so because of its ability to tap into basic human instincts. This set of pictures has just created a sequence of events that tried to take you in a specific direction. However, what happens when we remove the pictures and just have words in their place? The words themselves just don't seem to depict what was taking place as effectively as the pictures. The problem that arises, though, from relying on a set of static images is the old cliché. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Indeed they are. Images alone can speak volumes about something, but it may not lead in the direction the author intended. An example of this would be this set of pictures. There are going to be various interpretations of this sequence. But look when we add captions to the pictures. As time carries forth, it only seems that adding words and images together is a natural evolution. This evolution has been a slow process, but is becoming more prevalent in our culture. And just like evolution implies, the now weaker methods of narrative are starting to either die off or become a minority. If we go back through time, okay, maybe not that far, we can see that we have always used some form of pictures to represent something else. In numerous caves around the world, various pictures or symbols have been created on the cave walls. If we look at the picture here, we can clearly see some type of animal is being depicted. Although the society may have lacked our modern form of written language, they are still being able to communicate their message. And isn't that language's primary purpose? And even though the society's oral language may have been lost, this picture is universal in the sense that everybody today can still see what it is. Finally, let us not forget, much like this picture, letters and words themselves are just merely symbols. When we read, we are first seeing shapes before actual letters. Words are just shapes. Research suggests that many times we will recognize misspelled words based on the shape of the word as opposed to the actual letters. An example of this would be the following sentence. The shape of Tesk is seen and is immediately seen as an unfamiliar shape. We know that the shape should look more like the shape of test. There is also other research that states as people view letters and words, there are time intervals in between them to allow for mental processing. It takes approximately 10 milliseconds for each letter to be recognized, or more importantly, that is around 300 words per minute. In this very scene alone, it can take people more than 1,000 words to accurately describe it. This is the reason why sequential narrative is able to work so effectively and efficiently. Nobody wants to take 2 or more minutes reading words that are trying to create a picture about a picture when we can simply just look at the actual picture. As we move forward with the whole concept of letters and words being symbols, there is the issue of letter fonts and sizes. These really are just methods that help maximize a letter or word's effect. They act similar to tools a painter would use while painting a picture. There are sharp lines, rounded edges, small or tall shapes, or fat or narrow font sizes. Right now there are over 200 different fonts we can use at any given time in our general word processing programs when simply writing. There are literally an infinite number of combinations we can come up with when applying these font sizes, shapes, and colors while writing. The words such as love and hate take on new meanings when written in different fonts and colors. It's hard to think that there still is a cantankerous attitude about mixing pictures and words together, considering we are doing it all the time. We always are creating a sequential narrative anytime we read or write, whether we are consciously aware of it or not. Sequential narrative is ultimately underrated in society, at least in some areas. Graphic novels like Moss or the 9/11 Report can do something more than just traditional novels. They can help us visualize something in better detail or give us a broader perspective on a time or situation. These novels deal with real and serious events that involve real people. Instead of trying to convey a message with just abstractions, it's increasingly helpful to try and bring things down to a basic human level of visualization. The problem, though, is that graphic novels or other forms of sequential narrative is seen as juvenile or comical. This, though, is easy to do, seeing as most sequential narrative in books is usually reserved for horrible themes like superheroes or Garfield. Hey, would you get the hell out of here? And put those underwear underneath your pants. While Charlie Brown may be fun to read as a sequential narrative, and may even lend some type of moral lesson, he really can't do much outside of that realm. If you were constructing a novel about African tribunal practices, the blockhead Charlie Brown would be undermining to this topic. There has to be a thought-out and well-laid plan first before just slapping a bunch of images down together to try to talk about a serious issue. It's hard to say how or what humans will be doing to communicate 40 or 50 years from now. One thing, though, that is certain is that sequential narrative will surely be a part of it. With the growing development of technology in our culture, who knows, maybe letters will become extinct.